Good morning, my global citizens. Happy motherfucking Friday. Stop scrolling, listen up, and hit that follow button. Smack the shit off that follow button. But whatever you do, do not leave my page without hitting that follow button. Yeah, y'all. So why the fuck would you vote for Kamala Harris? Why would you, as an American citizen, this November, vote for Kamala Harris over Donald Trump? I'll tell you why. Kamala Harris brings policy receipts. Policy over party. Policy over politics. Policy over political puppets. I gave you a previous video on the Chips and Science Act. One of her policies, the creating incentives to produce semiconductors. I gave you that video. Go back and watch it. But today, let's discuss the Inflation Reduction Act. But before we do, let's define clearly what inflation is. It's the rate increase of prices over a given period of time. I'll say it again for those in the back. The rate increase of prices over a given period of time. Now, the Inflation Reduction Act does three key things. I'll keep it simple. It reduces the deficit, and we know that Donald Trump added 25% to the national deficit in 4 years, the largest amount any president has ever done. But he's a good businessman. I digress. The future will lower your taxes by decreasing the deficit. That's how that helps. The second, it lowers prescription drugs. Now, 70% of us, come here, America, 70% of us are on a prescription drug or more. So this helps you out. Third, for me, the most consequential, is the largest investment in climate change in the history of America. Dumbass Donald pulled America out of the Paris Climate Accord, which got all the nations together to agree to reduce our carbon footprint. But yet, the Harris-Biden campaign put us back into the Paris Climate Accord and passed the Inflation Reduction Act. This third investment into climate change is the hugest, the largest investment ever, which we absolutely need. Since 1850, the temperature has increased 2 degrees every year. Since 1982, it has tripled that, and in 2023, we had the hottest temperature ever recorded. And in the last 10 years, we've had the hottest temperatures since we've been recording temperatures ever. Please don't give me this bullshit about climate change is a hoax. My global citizens, it is important that we have political facts before we make political decisions. I'm doing my best to educate you. The Inflation Reduction Act is the policy, I believe, that tackles key elements for us as American citizens. The Chips and Science Act also does that. And the next video I'm going to drop is about the infrastructure bill. Watch this 53-second video on more information on the Inflation Reduction Act. Arm yourself with knowledge, my global citizens. Like, follow, comment. Peace. I'll be right back.
The $739 billion Inflation Reduction Act and everything you need to know. The most important one here is if you're on Medicare, your total out-of-pocket expenses for prescription drugs will not exceed $2,000 a year. This starts in 2025, and they're able to do this because the federal health secretary is now able to directly negotiate on behalf of Medicare. So if you're on Medicare, aka you're over 65 or you have a chronic disease, your prescription drugs will not cost you more than $2,000 a year starting in 2025. Moving on to taxes. 15% tax on corporations reporting $1 billion a year or more in profits. This includes Nike, FedEx, and Amazon. There's also an excise tax of 1% on all stock buybacks. Also, $80 billion of this $739 billion that's going to go toward the IRS so they can hire 87,000 new agents. More than half of that is going to go towards enforcement, so if you owe taxes, pay them. Last but not least, climate change. You get a $4,000 tax credit if you buy a used electric vehicle and a $7,500 tax credit if you buy a new one.
My global citizens, facts matter. You need to be clearly informed of the facts and which candidate is bringing forth policy to help the American people. That's all I'm involved in. I'm involved in sharing with you, the American public, the facts surrounding this election in November and which of these candidates, Harris or Trump, is bringing policy to help the American people. Watch Nana discuss the second element of the Inflation Reduction Act, the lowering of prescription drug. She goes in, y'all. She talks about how the Democratic Party, which is the only party that pushed forward this bill and got it approved, and every Republican voted against that. I'm an independent, so I don't care about party. I'm policy driven. But watch Nana go in on who actually helped the American people, Harris or Trump. Like, follow, and comment. Peace.
Remember the Inflation Reduction Act? That's the act that the Democratic Congress passed and Biden signed into law. Well, one of the many things that that act does is penalize big pharma companies if they raise the price of drugs more than inflation. And in a huge surprise, Big Pharma raised the price of 64 drugs well past the rate of inflation. So now the Biden administration will be imposing penalties on them. Well, this will lower the cost of prescription drugs for a bunch of people who are on Medicare. I'd like to take this moment to remind everyone that it was the Democratic House and a Democratic Senate working with a Democratic president that made this happen, to actually penalize Big Pharma, whereas every single Republican, and I mean every single Republican in the House and the Senate, voted against this bill.
So there it is, my global citizens. As I told you, I'm an independent. I give zero fucks about the party. I do care about the candidate that will bring policy to the American people. So we got a decision to make in November, y'all. Harris or Trump. And it's clear for me as an independent that I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she's bringing policy. Watch when I drop my next video, which will be about the infrastructure bill. Another policy that the Harris campaign has put forward. I love y'all. Like, follow, comment. Peace.